Okay. So, welcome to Babbling Zoom. And I'm outside. So, we're going to talk about something for a second. I'm going to ramble on about, or babble on about electric cars, EVs. Just recently, um, what was it? Uh, Hooves Garage and the Fast Lane, TFL, has both been in the conservative news about the problems with EV cars. And surprisingly, I was kind of fascinated with this and looking things up about it. Um, Mostly the range, the biggest problem with the range. And after Hoove's video, um, he mentioned the gearing.
What a joke! So yeah, that was abysmally bad. And if the future is electric, there has to be some kind of solution for this. I have no idea why EVs go so bad. My guess would be it doesn't have a normal transmission where there's gears and the car's in a lower rev range, but still pulling. That's why the gas mileage isn't so dramatically different, 2 or 3 times different versus an EV where it's a drive motor working harder and harder and harder. And when you're towing something with bad aerodynamics, it makes such a huge difference. That would be my guess. The solution, I have no idea. But if a truck towing 3,500 pounds can't even go 100 miles, in this case with a light load.
And Roman in TFL quickly shot that down, saying that it doesn't range and gearing doesn't matter. It's all about the battery life.
This one's for you, Hoovie. And Hoovie just did a video basically with the Lightning talking about lack of range. And he said the reason for that was because of the gearing. It's not. The reason for it is quite simple. Energy density in a battery is nowhere near that of energy density in gasoline. So even though this truck has a 130 kilowatt hour battery, it's kind of the equivalent of 4 gallons of gasoline. So imagine towing 300 plus miles with 4 gallons of gasoline. It's not going to work. In a normal internal combustion engine, the gasoline is actually used mainly to heat the engine. Here, all that electric power is used to pull a trailer. Unfortunately, with only about 4 gallons, we're going to struggle to make it all the way to the top of the Eisenhower Tunnel.
Which I'm questioning that, and this is more like a reply or a question for both, I should say, for both of them. Because I think Hoove has a point. You have a situation where, right now, standard combustion car has better range at faster speeds, at higher speeds, at highway speeds, right? Like my Jeep here, it does say it's supposed to be 25, like it's supposed to be 24 city, it's supposed to be like 30 highway, but maybe because of just where I live, it's really only like 20 city, 27 highway. But again, that's most combustion cars. You have that extra range depending how fast you go. TFL just took their Lightning to Alaska, and even like everyone else is playing around with it, you realize that even on highway speeds, you end up losing more energy, right? So let's really kind of focus on that with my wife's fan, because this is the only fan I have that is small enough to transport and play around with. So let's be quick about this. I pulled out my bike because I want to kind of simplify everything. I am not an expert. I am not an electrician. I am not a mechanic. I'm just trying to understand. And the biggest thing is understanding just electric cars. And the easiest way for me to probably simplify this, and I'm hoping someone else can that'll help me with this, is understanding why this essentially is combustion, and this is not electric, right? So let me actually get my pen and paper because I like drawing for this. All right. So if we're talking about a bike, right? We're going to use a bike as a shorthand for cars. So this bike if it was because there's gearing in it, imagine that being in the transmission, that would be combustion, right? Essentially, so good. Essentially, I'm not drawing my bike, I'm drawing just a generic bike. So essentially, if this was a car, the engine itself will be your foot, right? Your foot could only your foot or your engine can only pump out a certain amount of horsepower, right? So to translate that, to make it faster, you shift the gears. Same power, different speeds, right? And just like in a bike, the faster you go, if you shift the gears, the easier to ride, right? You can't go on a high. You can't start off on a higher speed. It's harder on your legs. It's harder on everything. So it's better to start low, work your way up to high speeds, right? This is what I'm thinking. This is how I'm believing this to be. Got it? So this is your engine. This is the transmission in the car. For electric, for this tiny little engine right here, or well, bigger, because bigger. On electric cars, we completely do away with this. We do away with this engine right here, and actually strap. I'm just gonna put a fan here. We strap the engines to the wheels, right? Which means this whole section right here now becomes batteries, right? To power. To power the fans, right? Okay. Fine. That makes sense. But then the point goes to go faster. Since you don't have the gears, you have to have set speeds. So if you know, not this fan. This fan is different. It's got like 2 speeds on it. So it's got like 2 speeds on it, but a standard fan, even like your household fan, even like your ceiling, starts it off, kicks into high speed, medium, low, before going back to off, right? So the idea is we start it, use up as much energy as possible to get the fan going. So that's your highest speed. You waste a lot of energy there. Fine, and you use up less energy the slower the fan is spinning. Right? Which is completely different from what Roman says when it comes to cars. Like this is the whole thing with fans. And I would love to have a test where I take 2 identical fans and run one at high speed, one at low speed, and see which one actually burns out faster, right? So, back to this. Now, when it comes to fans, we know that this is running really fast, and as you get down here, it runs really slow. Sadly, friction. But what this means is that to get the wheels spinning faster, Yeah. These fans, to get more torque, you have to, like, put more energy into your fans, right? So highway speeds to maintain like speeds of like 55 to 75 miles an hour, you're dumping more energy into the fan. So yeah, when Roman took the Ford Lightning to Alaska, he had to maintain a certain speed of 35 miles an hour to conserve the energy, as opposed to if you had a regular combustion engine, you pick that thing up to like maybe 65 miles an hour to conserve gas. Energy in an electric car is not equal to a gallon of gas. It's the one thing I don't believe Roman, like, I get he's trying to defend electric cars, but that does not equate. These two do not equate at all, right? So this is where the whole gear thing comes in, right? If you're trying to pump out this much energy to make this engine faster, why not just go back to transmission? Make this the engine. This is the power. You can maintain maybe a certain speed, or make the ranges of the speed of this engine a little less, so you're drawing less energy from your batteries, and let the transmission handle the rest of the work. Again, the crazy amount of torque that you were getting from these trucks and these cars come from, well, putting more energy into the electric engine. Why not just offset that with gears, right? Now, why am I mentioning this? Because one of the things that while watching TFL and just trying to kind of understand electric cars, because I'm still skeptical of it. I still love my combustion. I'm not even going to hybrid either. I don't trust it. But I'm interested in it, and I want to see it grow. But I want to see it stable first. So the reason why I want someone to explore this more is because of two things, right? And I'll probably try to link the video on this as well, put the video on this as well. So a while back, I watched an Auto Trader video, and they were watching conversion cars, right? And their conversion cars, essentially, there was this one conversion Porsche, right? Where when they converted it to electric, they kept the manual transmission. And you can truly go through all the gearing with an electric. Essentially, there was an old Porsche where the engine worked with the gearing, and you could feel the acceleration as you go through the gearing. Perfect. This is a perfect way of bringing back electric manual. Yeah, I geeked out. But again, this only happened in Europe, because they still are doing more. I think they were still doing driving tests with manual cars. right? They've had the manual longer than us. Another video I watched was Engineering Explained. They ended up actually having a video like, I think 6 years ago, somewhere around like 6 years ago, where they actually asked this same question. Why do electric engines only have one gear? Right? And yeah, it's because this little battery, this electric engine pumps out more power than a combustion. Easily. Way easily. But the funny thing about that video is it also mentioned the fact that there's an F1 car that tried gearing. There's an F1 car that took this engine and put it in gears and added gears to it. And that's what I want to actually study. We shouldn't just dismiss it. I'm sorry, Roman. I love your videos, but we shouldn't just dismiss things. We should actually explore it. Try to find someone who actually did this, who actually took an engine and married it with it, and see if you could see what the range is. What is the difference? If at any point, like, you or Tommy can run out and see if you could find that F1 car, talk to the developers, talk to the manufacturers, talk to the engineers, see what they did and what the difference is between, well, essentially putting, my shadow's annoying. Essentially putting slapping two batteries to two engines to a bunch of wheels and making it run. Right? There's a chance that actually marrying an electric engine with a transmission, with a gear, could possibly work. Could possibly save on range. And it's something that needs to be explored more. And to be honest, I think if Hooves and TFL can go through it and look around and see if they could actually find people that have done it, there's conversions all over the place. Try to find one person who managed to marry them together and see what the difference is. See what they did. All right? Don't just dismiss an idea. That's not the American way. Let's be real. All right, I'm going to head out. And welcome to my garage with my car. See you.